Hey everyone, welcome to the ATP Project. You're with your host Steve-O and me, Nic.
Hey Nic, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you?
Good. Now we're going to talk about what we're going to eat today.
Yeah, we are. In a way.
In a way.
Yeah.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, we're going to talk about diets.
Diets.
Different types of some of the more popular types of diets. The good, the bad, pros and cons about them all. This could be contentious, I know, but it gets quite heated when people talk about their diets, don't they? Like they get kind of religious about these things. Like,
well, when you decide on this thing, we're going to get emails that I disagree with you, and that's fine. Because,
100%.
You know, one man's food's another man's poison.
That's right. And I think that's what we're not biased to any of the diets we're going to talk about today. I mean, I might be slightly biased towards one, but you won't be able to pick it. Maybe you will. I don't know.
I'll tell you which ones. From a
practitioner's point of view,
I'm biased towards them. Pretty much most of the ones we're going to talk about for different reasons, though.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's goods and bads.
That's right. And we're going to go through the goods and the bads. Yeah. And at the end, you make your own choice what you want to do. And like you said, Steve-O, if you're on a particular diet, don't shoot us if we say anything negative about it. But it's just looking at both sides of everything. And
this we're running off a document we've put together here at ATP, which has 57 medical references.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is not just like, I'm making it up. So this is we're going to pick some of the more, I'll say extreme.
Yeah, extreme and quite current.
Current, yeah. So you know, you might go, why are you talking about that diet? Because people are on it is the reason why.
Yeah.
And people eat like this, and some people, you know, the famous people are on them and all this. It's in the news.
Yeah, it is.
It's in the news. The first diet's one of my personal favourites.
Is it one of your faves, Steve?
Well, not because
You know what? Matt picked that.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He picked
I
that.
like this diet. Not. I don't follow it. I don't eat this way, but I like it because of its extremeness.
Manliness?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm an Aussie. We eat barbecue.
Well, that's true. We're very big, high meat eaters.
I know. So this is obviously the carnivorous diet.
The carnivorous diet, carnivore diet. I know.
Now, what a carnivore is an animal that just pretty much eats meat.
Yeah.
Or does eat meat.
Yeah, animal proteins, pretty much. That's it.
Humans are omnivores, though.
That's right.
So it means we you know, like some of us are herbivores. Some humans are herbivores.
Yeah, that is also true.
But the carnivore diet is pretty much exclusively an animal protein diet.
Yeah.
Which is weird because, I mean, the first page of this with our notes, the things that are discouraged are things like apples, watermelons, oranges, kiwi fruit, I think that is.
Yeah.
Another apple and strawberries. I mean, these are healthy foods.
Yeah. Discouraged. So all your grains, all your vegetables, all your fruits, they're pretty much, discouraged on this diet. Anything sugar-based, obviously nuts and seeds, all that sort of thing.
Isn't that funny? Nuts and seeds are discouraged.
Yeah.
The healthy nut. But so you know, this, it's a really interesting style diet. There is some evidence. We did a carnivore diet podcast a couple of years ago. But the food's encouraged on this, and you know, you're right. Things like eggs, chicken, meat, any game meat, any pork, bacon, organ meats, fish, eagle, heavy cream.
Eagle, did you say?
Eagle. Well, organ. Did I say organ? Organ meats.
Eat an eagle.
You can.
Anyone in the US, I want to eat their coat of arms, or their what do they call it in the US? Coat of arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
bald
eagle.
Eagles,
the bald thingo eagle.
Bald eagle.
We've got the wedge-tail eagle.
We do have the wedge-tail eagle. Have you seen the size of them? Well, you know what? You get a good feed off a wedge-tail eagle. I wouldn't eat a wedge-tail eagle.
Are we the only country that eat our coat of arms?
Oh, probably, yeah. Kangaroo.
Emu and kangaroo?
Yeah, an emu. Yeah, probably. We have a lot of them, though. So, I mean, I don't eat them, but...
I love kangaroo sausages.
Do you? I don't. I can't do kangaroo.
Can't do kangaroo?
No. Can't do kangaroo.
Jeez.
No, it's very gamey.
Yeah, it is, but the sausages are right.
Slight chance of myxomatosis also.
Oh, don't worry about minor illnesses like that. Even this diet, hard cheeses, small amounts, animal fats, butter, ghee, lard, bone marrow, bone broth. So most health professionals, look at that and go, is that all you're eating? And it's like, yep. So it's pretty much all you eat. And the reason why we're talking about this, because a lot of people are on it, and it's being... I don't know. It's not being promoted, but Dr. Jordan Peterson eats this. And he's a famous psychologist.
Yeah, he is.
But his mental health was terribly poor until he went on the carnivore diet. and he's now remarkably, he's lost a lot of weight, very healthy,
I know
plenty of energy.
exactly who you're talking about now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I do.
Yes. So for him, it improved his health dramatically.
Yeah.
Well, I can't argue with that. I can't say that he's an idiot.
No. And I have in the past had clients that have gone carnivore that have had autoimmune conditions.
Yeah.
And it settled them right down.
Right down, yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
You know,
And I have theories of why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, and we can discuss these theories. And
it.
Dr. Sean Baker's an orthopod was the biggest proponent of these diets. And so he was a guru in that. So,
Sorry, an orthopod?
orthopod, orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, okay.
Is that?
It sounded like some kind of insect.
Oh, my God.
You know, like a...
I suppose that's a new name because my father-in-law was one.
Okay, well, I just thought it was a bug
He
or
does
something.
orthopedic surgery.
Okay,
They call them
makes more
orthopods.
sense. Orthopod, okay, cool.
Does
Good
sound
to
like an
know.
insect.
It does sound like an insect.
So there is a little bit of history to this one. Now, if you went to sub-Saharan Africa with the Mesa warriors and that, they largely eat a carnivorous diet because, that's all there is there. And there's, Inuits and the Indians that are up north in the Antarctic. There's not many plants that grow in winter.
No.
So they live off animal flesh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might think this will kill you in a week. Well, humans are quite diverse, like what we can eat. I mean, there's tribes that survive on largely animal proteins. There's some that are largely vegan.
Yeah.
And they still seem to thrive and be replicated. If one of those diets didn't work, that population would die out.
That's right. And that's exactly what the thing, isn't it? You try to, and I think in the past may have talked about this, you try and take a diet from one part of the world that they've lived on, generations and bring it to another part of the world. It doesn't work so well. So, and obviously, your family history and how your ancestors ate really is dependent on how you will go with certain things. But yeah, carnivore diet, very interesting. As I said, I've had a few clients in the past that have gone on the carnivore diet.
What's happened?
And their symptoms have reduced. Autoimmune, one had rheumatoid arthritis. Another one had Hashimoto's from memory. So my theory around this is obviously gut bacteria microbes, and we've talked about this in the past. We have inflammatory microbes, LPS-producing microbes.
That's lipopolysaccharides for those playing at home.
That's right. And that can cause widespread systemic inflammation if we have high amounts of those coupled with gut hyperpermeability, which is where the gut junctions are widened and then pathogens, inflammatory compounds can move through into the bloodstream and then systemically create more inflammation. So a lot of bacteria that feed on carbohydrates, refined carbohydrates and starchy foods and things like that, if they get out of balance, they can cause a lot of these inflammatory chemicals, so the lipopolysaccharides and things like that. So if you stop feeding those bacteria, they die down or they become dormant, then of course you're going to have less of these inflammatory compounds being produced. That reduces the inflammation, reduces the symptoms. So that's, I think, why a lot of these things are working. And it's going to work for as long as you're on the diet. Yeah. As soon as you then try to come off the diet, you're probably going to have the same problem again because a lot of these microbes won't actually die off. They'll just be dormant. Start refeeding them and have the problems again. So if you're doing this diet purely for inflammatory conditions, then, and we can talk about the sustainability of the diet, I think that's probably would be challenging for the long term as well. Then you want to work on the gut and look at what's going on in the gut while you're on this diet so that if you do come off it, then you're not going to have bounce back effect for a lot of your symptoms. So that's kind of my thinking around how it works well for those types of conditions.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, but, the classic ones is heart disease.
Yeah.
And we know that the studies show that when people go on this, their heart markers improve. Yeah. Which is quite, HDL goes up, LDL goes down. Because carbohydrates are a bad thing when it comes to the heart.
Carbohydrates can be quite dangerous in high amounts, and we have a lot of refined carbohydrates and sugars in the diet, very inflammatory, very detrimental for cardiovascular health. So, so taking them out definitely could be beneficial in that regard.
And if I took an average population from, we're in Brisbane right now recording it. If I wanted down the street there, it's about 2 in the Arvo, 2:30, and I went to the local shops and I picked out a guy my age, 54, who's the average 54-year-old who's usually overweight, because about 70% of my age group are overweight, got the big fat gut, doesn't exercise, got some sort of crap going on. And if I just whip them straight onto what I'll call a healthy carnivore diet, their health would probably be improved.
You probably would.
Because they're probably eating crap now.
That's right.
Australians are terrible. They're probably eating junk food. So you're going to eliminate all the junk food. And so, as I said, this wouldn't be my diet of choice for anyone really, but it's better possibly than some of the crap diets out there now.
Well, that's right. I mean, as we said, carnivore diet may not be the best diet for some people, maybe for others, but it's a hell of a lot better than junk food diet, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. So some of the possible health, we can go into some of the possible health
let's have a look at
benefits of
those.
this. So better appetite control.
That's a good one.
That is a really good one because you're not having those carbohydrates to spike your blood sugars and cause issues there and imbalances. So better balanced blood sugars means better appetite control, less hungry, that sort of thing. So therefore you won't be overeating. I don't think there's a lot of people I think a lot of people would agree that not many people gorge on proteins.
No.
They might gorge on carbohydrates and fats, but not so much proteins.
You're not going to have a steak and then go, I need another steak.
No.
Unless you just want to stuff yourself because you really feel full after those things.
Yeah.
So imagine eating food like that 3 times a day. You're not going to overeat.
No.
And also there's the TEF, the thermic effect of food is very high for protein. So you're going to have a thermic effect. So you're going to feel a bit better.
Yeah.
You're going to be more energized. Your thyroid levels improve.
That's right.
Because your metabolism goes up because you've got this thermic effect of food going on 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Because you're eating red meat. And, let's just say red meat 3 times a day. That's the main component of this diet.
All the protein.
Eggs, all the protein. So this would be a great diet for weight loss.
Yeah.
And give enough protein to preserve your muscle mass.
That's right.
So bonus, that's a bit of a tick for that one, I think.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a tick. Improved metabolic health. Well, if we're regulating blood sugar, we're becoming more insulin sensitive, which of course is going to improve our metabolic health. So that sort of runs in line with that blood sugar balance as well. Anti-inflammatory, as we said.
Yeah.
I mean, it is anti-inflammatory. There's not
Very much.
many. I won't say there is some, but not a lot of people react to protein specifically.
No, not me.
So inflammation, as we said earlier, can go down quite significantly, taking out those inflammatory foods.
Yeah.
Gut health again.
Gut health, yep.
So we're going to talk about the positives and the negatives on the gut. But the positives, again, can reduce a lot of those pathogenic bacteria and microbes that overgrow that do love feeding on those refined carbohydrates. So that's also positive. And then improved mental clarity.
Yeah, this is what we it lessens the production of D-lactate and acetaldehyde, which is the brain fog chemicals. So that's one of the. This is what Dr. Jordan Peterson was all about. He says he just can speak better. He can formulate questions. He sleeps better. He does everything better, and he's a very sharp man, very smart man, almost as smart as me, but not quite.
Wow, gee, that's smart, Steve.
Jesus Christ,
wow.
no, he's way
Lucky
smarter than me.
guy.
So what are some of the shortcomings of this diet?
You may have some kidney issues. Obviously, the higher protein. Now, there's always a lot of contention around does high protein cause issues with kidney function, all that sort of thing. If someone has already poor kidney function or they have a family history of kidney disease or they've had kidney injury or anything like that, then yes, high protein could be a factor for those people, that population. If you have healthy kidneys, really isn't that much of an issue.
We've eaten, we've seen populations eating huge amounts of protein, pretty much exclusively for months on end, and they seem to be fine. So it's very interesting. And you mentioned the gut health because the meats are devoid of polyphenols, which are found in those plants, and they're the real cool chemicals that you and I love that is not in this diet.
It's not in this diet. So all those microbes that they feed on the polyphenols and the fibers, and they create short-chain fatty acids.
Yep.
Short-chain fatty acids are needed for the health of our colonocytes, which are all through our intestines, reduce the risk of bowel cancer and inflammation, any other sort of bowel diseases, that type of thing. So that could be a factor when we're looking at that. The other one is TMAO.
TMAO, trimethyl amino oxidase.
Yeah, that's it. Foods high in choline.
Yeah.
And that includes red meat.
Red meat, sure.
Yeah, pretty high in that sort of thing as well. So that the choline feeds the bacteria that produce the TMAO.
Yeah.
And TMAO has been associated with increased plaque formation in the arteries.
Yeah.
And that's where that correlation between red meat and heart cardiovascular issues comes from.
Bad gut, yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, and this comes back to the microbes in your gut, but if you're producing more of them and you don't have a balance with the microbes that feed on, say, the polyphenols and the fibers and things that keep these in good amounts, so they're not let them overgrow, then they can overgrow and cause issues. So that also can be a possible factor.
And carnitine's rich in red meat, which is great for fat loss, but it also can make TMAO along with choline. So, it's a tricky one because TMAO is also found in deep sea fish.
It is.
And it's like, that's good for your heart. It's like, it's a real tricky one, this one.
Yeah.
But there is, as you say, a direct correlation. So very interesting.
Yeah.
And you with another one listed here is sleep. It's kind of, I don't know if you'd have a problem sleeping on this, but diet. But
I mean, theoretically, you could.
Yeah.
I mean, we need good blood glucose levels to help with our sleep. If our blood glucose levels are too low, it can impact our sleep quality, all that sort of thing. So that could be a factor. Low sugars could cause a stress response, increased cortisol. Increased cortisol will impact sleep quality. So that could also be a factor, possibly.
And I said it helped Jordan Peterson sleep, but it made it help you sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an interesting one.
You don't know.
It's funny because you can also get lack of vitamin C, but because of this thing. And you know what the richest source of animal vitamin C is? You're going to love this: ox tongue.
Oh, I used to feed my dog ox tongue.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every Sunday. Sorry to all the plant-based vegans out there. I'm sorry.
Just
close your ears for a minute. Plant-based or vegans, not plant-based vegans. Close your ears for a few minutes. I used to go to the butcher every Sunday because I feed my dogs raw meat. Oh, a carnivore diet. I keep them to pure carnivore diet because they're carnivores.
Pretty much.
And I'd get ox tongues because they were cheap and they were good for them. And I'd go home and you know how tough ox tongue. If anyone's seen a whole ox, and they're very big and they're very tough, and they've still got all the the roughness on their tongue. So trying to chop them up every Sunday and package them up for the week for the dog. Don't worry, I used to go a long way for my dog's health.
That's incredible.
So yes, they get ox tongue. So there you go.
Well, you should have snacked on some yourself. Good to vitamin C.
No, they've gave it all to them. And one of my dogs lived to his 14, so it kind of done him any harm.
And also eyeballs are very high in vitamin C.
Yeah, I didn't go there. I didn't do the eyeballs. I drew the line.
It's starting to get gross. Liver's got a little bit, but doesn't store. It's a bit of a tricky one. And folate too, you can be deficient if you have a high and magnesium.
Yeah.
Because all the great things that the source of magnesium, the leafy greens and the nuts, you forget it on this diet.
Yeah, that. And folate's really important too when we're looking at methylation.
Yep.
We've talked about methylation in the past. Poor methylation can cause a lot of different factors, detoxification issues with neurotransmitter balance, hormonal issues, high stress response, things like that. So that's really important. So, but you can get a little bit of folate out of eggs.
Yeah.
So you might want to eat a few eggs to get that. But you'd have to consume a lot.
What
and
about
then
crabs?
Crabs. Crabs have got
a little bit of folate, haven't they?
36 micrograms per 86 grams.
Oh, it's on there.
No, that came out of my head, Steve.
Oh, God, I was going to say, it's brilliant.
Ground beef has 7 micrograms.
Yeah, bugger all.
Yeah, not much.
Need about 400 a day.
Yeah, need about
400. But here's the okay, let's just summarise this stuff because we've got a heap to get through. I'm trying to.
No, we're trying to speed up.
No, it's got like, okay, so when would we consider putting someone on a diet like this?
Okay, so from a clinical perspective, I'm going to talk from. I wouldn't put someone on a diet like this.
No,
just my own from my own clinical, perspective. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Purely because I feel like it's just devoid of too many nutrients. If you can hack this diet, so you could do the diet and then do your supplements to make sure you're getting all of those extra nutrients that you need that you possibly may not be getting purely from carnivore. You could add some polyphenols and things in there as well. So you could hack it a little bit. But from the long-term gut health perspective and also from a sustainability factor. So how well can you sustain this diet in the long term?
Yeah.
So when I look at clients, I think, okay, we need to look at a way of eating that you're going to be able to manage for, say, the rest of your life without thinking about it too much. It's not going to impact your life, impact your social life. it's not going to be too hard to do.
Yeah.
This one could be challenging for some people.
What if someone, I'm going to give you a hypothetical now and we'll talk about it. I'm trying to play the devil's advocate with this diet. Let's say somebody's super depressed, super anxious, super mental health problems. They're not going to go and, they just want something absolutely dead simple to eat. They're overweight for a short-term, fix. Like Jordan Peterson did this because of his mental health.
Yeah.
And it's basically saved his life.
Yeah.
Some people that are super depressed, my wife gives them, ketamine. And in hospital.
Yeah.
So they're resorting to drastic things before these people kill themselves. Could it be used short term for a week or two to get someone out of a massive mental health hole?
Yeah, definitely.
Look, just eat steak. I know it's, you're going to bad, but if the middle-aged man who's super depressed, may commit suicide, is this an option?
Yeah, look, definitely could be an option. And we did a podcast not long ago on mental health and nutrition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And how nutrition significantly impacts our mental health.
Oh.
So yeah, short term, look, there's always a place for these types of things. And I guess you never say never.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd be wary. But yeah, definitely short term. And look, some people are on this longer term and they thrive on it. It also depends genetically what works well. So some people could go on this and just really not do well at all. And that's with a lot of these diets. A lot of people try different diets to see what fits for them. Someone may thrive on this diet. So
there was a diet. We'll talk about it a bit later. It's in this book anyway. We might talk about is the Atkins diet, which was similar to this. It was a super high protein, high fat diet with only 20 grams of carbohydrate in the first, what they call induction 2 weeks. And so they got people motivated to lose weight. It was about weight loss. Don't count calories. Just eat a couple of cups of greens a day, and the rest of it, whatever fats and meats and nuts and fish and eggs and cheese, whatever you want.
Yeah.
No grains, no other shit.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like this, but a couple of cups of greeny things.
Yeah, you're just missing a little bit of greens. But yeah, so what's that? So to summarise the carnivore diet benefits, lean muscle gain.
Yeah.
Fat loss.
Yeah.
Appetite regulation.
Yep.
Possibly mental health. Possibly maybe not so positive benefits. Gut micro diversity is in lack of diversity. Low vitamin C levels, no polyphenols, low in fibre, and long-term metabolic health. We don't know. So this is not well, I guess it is an old diet for a lot of populations, but we don't know the health effects of this long-term. So not in the Western world anyway. No. So totally different. So yeah.
A bit of a wild one, eh?
I mean, look, I like protein. I don't think I could eat protein or a lot of protein.
I'd like to try. Am I being an idiot male? I'd like to try this diet one day.
I could probably do fish 3 times a day.
Really?
Yeah, salmon. I love salmon. I eat a lot of salmon.
If I had steak, I love steak. If I had it, I don't know. I've got to try it one day. It's like shit. Why not? Just for a week.
Report back, Steve, because I'm not trying it. well, we could soon find out if Steve doesn't show up for work one day. We know it didn't go well for you.
Just check me. I've slumped over the barbecue with my face on the grill.
Yeah. Last seen smoking some meat. Smoke meat, that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a very other conversation. You want us to be in HR department soon or what?
All right.
This one's a bit more politically correct.
This one is a bit more. I think people might be more receptive, or maybe not. I mean, this again, it's a very controversial diet, really, isn't it? You're in the camp of or the camp against. It doesn't seem to be much in the middle. And people who are in the camp of are very passionate about this diet.
This is like the Collingwood of diets. Now I'm a Victorian. Yeah, you're a Victorian too.
I am, and I'm a Collingwood supporter.
Oh God, that's
and
right.
And we won the grand final. Just saying, last year.
Don't remind me.
First time in forever.
You guys beat us in the grand. I'm a Saints supporter.
Oh, are you?
I know.
Oh yeah, I would have picked it actually. Now you say that, yeah.
I grew up in the ground.
Did you? Did you? Should I say? Not did you? I didn't grow up in Collingwood. I just don't know why I went for Collingwood.
No, I don't know either.
To be honest, I don't really follow Victorians. I don't really follow the football.
Can I tell you a Collingwood
only
joke?
Collingwood wins.
The only Collingwood joke I know? What's the hardest 3 years of a Collingwood supporter's life?
I don't know.
2nd grade. Oops. There we go. There's millions of Collingwood
I passed
supporters.
2nd grade in the first round, so
there you go.
That's a true Collingwood supporter.
Yeah, that is all right. What are we talking about? We're talking about the vegan diet.
Vegan diet, yeah. Vegan diet.
We've got a supporter in the
We do have a vegan in the room. In the corner there. Yeah. Oh, vegetarian. Sorry. Vegetarian. Yeah. So that's another contentious thing.
That is another diet, but we're talking a bit extreme today. Vegetarians are, yeah. So
Vegetarians are, they're just the whole, I don't know, we don't even want to go with what a vegetarian.
well, the vegans, of course, different to vegetarians because they have no animal.
It's like literally a complete flip of the coin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they do everything that the carnivores don't.
Yeah. And it's funny because both diets can thrive, and can live.
Yep.
So obviously this is a pretty easy one to read through. Just nothing animal.
No.
No dairy, no milk. And people say, what about almond milk? It's like, it's an almond.
Yes.
So I mean.
And that joke of the almonds, is it?
What's the joke about almonds? Oh, no, you're going to cry.
Why is it so hard to... it's not even that funny.
It is now.
Why is it so hard to milk an almond?
I don't know.
Because the udders are so tiny.
Oh.
Sorry, I just wrote that one.
Made me laugh.
I know, sorry. I just make myself laugh.
You're going to cry. You're crying.
I was getting out my tissues. Going to get my cry tissues, Steve. Sorry, I must have loose tear ducts or something because I cry a lot.
Gee whiz.
Anyway, moving right along. That was my joke for the day. All right, moving right along.
Okay.
Right along. Okay, it's the afternoon. I've been up since 2 and my brain's quite much.
That's funny. I love all the different types of vegan diets. The bottom one's my favourite. The junk food vegan diet.
Oh, yeah, there is a lot of vegan diets, actually.
Because you got to remember, vegan diet sounds wonderful and everyone thinks broccoli and sprouts and that. But a vegan diet could be me getting up in the morning having almond milk on my Fruit Loops. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
And for lunch, I could have a chip sandwich.
I have in the past had associations with people who are on vegan diets who did eat like that. They ate a lot of junk food, but they didn't eat any animal-based products. It's just a lot of junk food. So it's still not healthy. So we're going to look at the healthy vegan diet. Lots of fruits, vegetables,
healthy
grains.
vegan diets are good.
Yeah, beans or your legumes, that type of thing.
So the P word enters the room, which is protein. So we've got this is where a lot of vegans can be deficient in because you can't have eggs. But you mentioned beans.
Beans, so legumes.
Yep.
So they have some protein in them. And we've probably talked about complete proteins and incomplete proteins in the past. I think a lot of people are pretty up with all that sort of thing. So legumes aren't a complete protein.
Nope.
So you need to combine it with another a source that has so say you're missing you've got 5 of your essential amino acids. You need something to make up the other 4. So that's why they can combine beans or legumes and grains a lot of the time. It's a classic combination that'll give you your 9 essential amino acids. So it's all about food combining.
Yep.
It's not about, it used to be you have to have combined, so your beans and your rice in one meal.
Yeah.
They don't say that anymore. You don't have to worry
you have
about
an amino acid pool.
That's right, exactly. So you don't have to worry about that. You just, so long as you're having good variety of your different types of plant proteins, you're pretty well covered. Obviously, soy is a complete protein. Hemp is a complete protein.
Yeah.
Quinoa is a complete protein, I think. Buckwheat might be a complete protein as well.
It's sort of like they've all got the essentials, but some of them are lower than others, and it's all a bit. But I think the good thing about this diet is that you can it includes loads of fibre and polyphenols and all that stuff that was deficient in the last diet.
Yeah,
this has got it in spades: colours, antioxidants.
So many nutrients in this diet.
The only thing I worry about are minerals a little bit. Because, like iron is something there's non-heme iron in green plants, which is not well absorbed.
It's so not well absorbed. And I have seen a lot of people say, a lot of spinach, but which has iron in it, but it's a non-heme. It's also high in oxalates.
I was going to say the big O word.
The big O word. So you can have issues there. Oxalates will impact your absorption of iron and zinc and other nutrients anyway.
Phytates too is high.
Yeah, high in phytates. So iron definitely is a factor. So iron supplementation for some people is necessary, depending on what your iron status is.
And what about cyanocobalamin or B12?
Yeah, so B12 definitely is another one. B12 obviously comes from animal proteins or animal products. So
it's funny. We're listening to Simon. What's his name? Simon Hill. He's famous sort of vegan. He speaks a lot. And he was struggling he said, you probably need to supplement B12.
Yeah.
Which, is probably true.
And it's interesting, as we're talking about methylation with the carnivore diet, I've had experienced a lot of clients come to me with methylation issues that are plant-based or vegans. So the B12 deficiency definitely will impact their methylation cycle. Also the amino acids. So we need amino acids as well for detoxification, liver. So phase 1, phase 2 liver detox. We need to have those amino acids.
The carnitines, the sulfur-based ones.
Yeah, so that can definitely impact detox. And then the B12 deficiency can impact methylation.
Yeah.
So there's that factor. So I do see that. And also iron is needed for methylation as well. So that isn't an uncommon thing that I see.
Especially in young women who menstruate.
Yeah.
And they're often vegans.
It seems to be a lot more females seem to like the plant-based type.
Why is that?
I don't know.
You're one of them.
A plant-based?
You're a female.
I'm a female, yeah. I'm a female. Look, I could be plant-based quite easily. I enjoy it, yeah. But I need protein, animal protein. Full disclosure, I was plant-based for a few years, long time ago.
Yeah.
Didn't go well for me. I couldn't maintain my muscle mass. I just really, really struggled. Some people do it really easily. I didn't. So I needed to add protein. But I'm very more seafood-based proteins than I don't do a lot of red meat, to be honest. A little bit and a lot in chicken. But I could easily, I love plant-based eating. I feel much better plant-based. And we're talking about plant-based, not talking about other things. But some people say, I eat plant-based because I just can't take meat. I just feels awful. It sits in my stomach. Yeah. I hate it. It makes me feel sick. A lot of that is you just don't have the enzymes to break it down.
Yeah.
Because if you don't eat animal proteins or heavier proteins, you lose that enzyme. So, and that's why you can't eat the meat and that's why you struggle. So if you include enzymes and some hydrochloric acid and you start breaking your proteins down, then you can actually feel better. So anyone that's plant-based, it's purely plant-based because they can't tolerate meat, it could be for that reason that you're just lacking those enzymes and acids that you need to break it down.
It's true. It's an interesting one. It's a really good one. And also calcium intake. Yeah,
calcium is another one. I mean, look, I probably go less on this one because I haven't eaten dairy for 30 years.
Yep.
Dairy products, and I have nothing wrong with my bones. I've had bone density tests. No issues with my bones. You can get a lot of calcium out of your leafy greens, nuts and seeds.
Yep.
And then obviously strength training. So add some strength training and it's going to be helpful for your bone density.
And we've brought this up before, but like those, I just opened a big bag of mixed nuts. You had some. That's got so many minerals in it, calcium, magnesium. It's frightening the health benefits of those, which vegans can eat till the cows come home.
Yeah.
And then they won't eat the cows when they come home. They can do it or drink the milk. Cows are safe around vegans.
Right. Very safe. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Just to make that clear that we're not going to be killing any cows.
So some of the possible health benefits, improved lipid profile, obviously. So we're taking out a lot of our heavy proteins, as you said, that can cause issues to TMAO and other issues from the proteins. Gut health, so we're getting all those fibers, all those polyphenols, we're filtering all of those bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids. So we're keeping our gut nice and healthy.
Healthy vegan diet.
Healthy vegan diet,
yeah. Yes. The bad vegan is just bad. We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that one. So better appetite control because they're having high fibre. Yeah. So fibre can be quite satiating as well. So so that may be good for some people. Other people maybe not so much because of the carbohydrate. I guess you still got to get your macros right, even on a plant-based diet. So you can still get your macros, your fats, your proteins and your carbs in good balanced amounts. And I think maybe people on plant-based diets might struggle with that a little bit more because of the protein factor. That's a little bit more challenging for them to sort of figure out.
I've got a funny story about vegans.
Tell me.
There was a guy on Spotlight the other night on TV. Beck and I watched it together, and everyone can watch this too. He spends $2 million a year.
I watched it.
Oh, you did?
Anti-aging guy.
Yeah. And he said he's vegan.
Yes.
And he said, I've never used my barbecue. Yeah, it's quite funny. And then he has a collagen shake.
Yes, I saw that too.
And I went, what the? And I said, what did he say? And I had to rewind it. He said, he's having collagen. I said, he's not a vegan then.
No, he's not a vegan.
Do people know collagen is from collagen from an animal?
It's from an animal, definitely. So you can get different types of collagen. Yeah,
I thought he was really smart too.
I think he was really smart.
Until he said that. No, but I mean, he probably doesn't know. But he's on 1 million supplements and he has 1 million tests.
And look, he looks okay. I thought it was, again, digress, but he dyes his hair. Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't.
Of course he dyes his. Look at the colour of his hair. So he hasn't figured out how to reduce grey, has he?
No, neither
He should listen to our podcast that we did on anti-aging.
Yeah, I can grow my hair back, but we can't really get rid of the grey.
Well, I can get rid of the grey.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can get rid of the grey in people. We talked about that, Steve.
Yeah, I suppose.
Good to see you.
I just
take note of what I talk about.
I just don't care enough to get rid of grey because grey looks good, you know?
It does look good on guys, not so much on women. But yeah, so he was, and you go back to that anti-aging podcast, he was activating, he was avoiding the mTOR activation.
Yeah.
So, activating his AMP-K and all that sort of thing. So have a listen to that podcast, go back. That's quite a cool one.
Yeah, it's good.
So liver and kidney health, obviously, kidneys, we're talking about protein. If you're predisposed to kidney issues, then obviously reduced protein is important there. And anti-inflammatory on a good, nice, balanced plant-based diet because we're taking out refined foods, high saturated fat foods, all of that sort of thing. So that's also really good. And then some of the downsides, which we talked about. So calcium intake, which we decided probably wasn't too much of an issue. Calcium, protein deficiency, B12 deficiency, iron deficiency, and carnitine deficiency. Carnitine is really important for mitochondrial health as well. So, if our mitochondria aren't, energy. We don't have good functioning mitochondria. We can have fatigue and all that sort of thing, aches, pains, headaches. But we didn't go over the positives and we didn't do the summary of the plant-based diet. So the plant-based people are sitting there going, what? But what do we do? Is it good or bad? Is it good or bad?
Is it good or bad? Tell me.
Is it good or bad? So benefits, gut microbiome diversity, metabolic health, appetite regulation, lower inflammation, all of that sort of thing. Shortcomings would be nutrient deficiencies. So if you're plant-based, really keep check of your nutrient status, so iron, B12, even zinc, probably not so much zinc, but depending if you're not absorbing. So blood testing at least once a year to make sure that your iron B12 levels are quite good. And then we're not sure about lean muscle gain or whether you lose a bit more muscle depending whether you would lose fat on these diets or not. Some people do, some people don't.
Right.
So overall, I give this a rating. I'm going to rate these, Steve.
Yeah, what's a rating for this one then?
We're going to go rating 1 to 5.
Okay.
This is just my personal ratings of these. 5. Okay, so 5 would be good. 1 would be don't touch it. So
it's like the 5-star rating that the government does.
There you go.
Okay.
So it's 5 stars. So this is my personal rating. So I'm going to rate a plant-based diet. I'm going to rate it a 2.5.
Oh.
Yeah. The vegetarian.
I was going to go for a 3, but no, 2.5.
Well, I mean, the only reason 2.5 is because I just really the importance of protein is there's just so many reasons why complete proteins are so important. And if you really can't assimilate your plant proteins very well, you're going to struggle. So
it's going to be a difficult one to follow, I reckon, if you want to do it really well.
Yeah. Look, and that's the other thing. It could be a little bit harder to follow. And I'm going to rate the carnivore diet too. I'm going to rate the carnivore diet a 1.
A 1 out of 5.
I know, controversy. This is my personal opinion, people. I'll give it 1.5. I'll give it 1.5.
I'll give it a 3 just for tastiness. Just the smell every day of a grilled steak.
We're not going on the taste rating, Steve. We're going on the health rating. Long term, not sure. We're talking long term health.
Yeah,
long term health. Okay, so plant based diet 2.5, maybe up to a 3.
Okay.
If you're okay, let me redo that. If you're all over the plant based diet and your macros are great, then I'll give it a 3.
Okay.
How's that?
Good.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
All right.
So the next diet is named after someone. What are you laughing about? Have you run out of tissues?
Oh, have I? You've been.
You crying?
Yeah, I've got my cry tissues here. Don't worry.
The next tissue is rain.
Might just get the ball. Matt doesn't like the box on the table.
Oh, yes.
Interrupts the whole
the flow, the zen.
That's right.
Feng shui.
The feng shui. That's right.
Be careful how you say it. You don't want to swear.
Don't swear.
Careful saying F words on the podcast.
That's right. Don't say.
Yeah.
No, don't say that.
The next diet is named.
Well, the only F word we can say is fun, Steve.
Right.
That's all I can think of.
Okay, and
sorry.
food.
Oops, and I just whacked the table.
Food.
Food. There you go. Food.
Now, next one is the guy wrote a diet and named it after himself. I love that already. That's one star already
the height
on
of
the
it,
start of it. I love it.
Egotistical.
What's my diet? The Eddie diet. So, no.
Oh, what's my diet? The brown diet. Well, I won't be naming a diet after myself.
That's awesome. You should. We should do the brown diet.
The brown diet, yeah. Okay,
God.
anyway, I don't know.
This is the Atkins
This is what
diet.
happens when we do podcasts in the afternoon, Steve.
Oh, it's terrible.
We go sideways.
It gets loose, doesn't it?
It does get
very loose.
Yeah, very loose. All right, Atkins diet. Yeah, so.
Robert Atkins.
Yeah, Robert
cardiologist.
Atkins. Yep.
New York.
Yep.
Interesting, very controversial.
Yeah, very
Because he was around the 70s and he was saying, you idiots with your Ansel Keys crap, with your fibre and all your stupid grains and stuff. You got to cut all that crap out and eat as much meat. And he was one of the first proponents of saying, don't count your calories.
Yes.
Which is another star in my book because I
think so
I don't
too.
think calories matter.
I don't think so.
And, he was saying, eat as much as you want. Don't count your calories. Please don't measure food. Just eat until you're full. Not stuffed, just full.
Yep.
And then you don't want to feel eating more. No sugar, no grains, pretty much. Eat any amount of animal food or nuts or anything like that and only have things like the fruits, avocado, tomatoes, and then some leafy greens. And he had these 4 phases of his diet. So he started off pretty strict. And then by phase 4, you're eating pretty much a healthy diet. Still no grains and sugar, though. That's pretty much the whole Atkins diet.
Yeah.
Cheeses are fine. But he was one of the first ones to not count calories. And of course, back in the 70s, if you were eating all this, you'd die of a heart attack, people you thought.
Well, you would think, yeah, because it was all the low carb, low sugar, low fat and high carb back then.
So, because Ansel Keys was king back then from his 7 countries studied, 1957 was. So but he bucked the trend and he was a cardiologist. So I was like, what's going on here? So this is one of the most researched diets on the planet, which has been around so long. And the early ones were going to debunk it by simply saying that if you eat like this, your cholesterol's going to go through the roof. And so the first trial on the Atkins diet was putting people on this diet. Here's the book. Go away, do it, testing their cholesterol levels, and they improved dramatically.
Yeah.
And it was like, what?
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden there was a bit of thing to this, but there's all these phases to it. To me, it's sort of like a difficult diet to follow. But
yeah, very complicated to follow.
But it's got some,
it's got some merit.
Yeah, the data is. I just like how you don't have to count calories. I like that already.
Yeah, I love that. I don't subscribe to calorie counting unless you have a particular body composition goal in mind. So and competing in body composition competitions.
Yeah, exactly.
Bodybuilding, body sculpting.
But by the end of it, the phase 4, you can have up to 100 grams of carbs per day,
which is pretty good, really.
Well, if you don't eat flour and sugar, but even at stage 4, you can eat it. You know what I mean? It's like so. He sort of says, got to go strict, get your weight off, and then you can go back to your healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty good one, eh?
Yeah, it's not a bad one. Like you said, I think for complexity, that would probably make my rating, because it's all about my rating.
Yes, of course.
That would make my rating probably 2.
2.
Because it's just for the difficult.
It's difficult.
Of it.
And most people don't want difficult.
No, that's right.
So what diet do you want to talk about next?
Let's talk about another really popular current diet, the keto diet. This one's still pretty popular. It was still very popular for a lot of good reasons.
I can say safely this diet has been researched for 100 years in the literature, since the 1920s. I was only a kid then.
Were you, or were you a teenager?
I was a teenager. Sorry, I'm lying about my age again.
You're lying about your age, Steve.
But yeah, I mean, the ketogenic diet, so it's a diet that produces ketones.
Yeah.
Ketones are, hydroxymethylbutyrate, these sort of things that are chemicals in your body. So that are released when you release fat. So there's nothing sinister about that. When you burn fat, you produce ketones.
Yeah.
So if you want to lose fat, you have to produce ketones. So we'll just, ketones are bad as a bit of a misnomer if you're trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
And by the way, everyone's got ketones in their body all the time.
That's right. And we won't even go into exogenous ketones.
Oh, yeah, taking them exogenously. Oh, yeah.
Whole other thing.
Heard of that. Yeah, okay. Well, so what can you tell us basically about it?
Yeah, so a ketogenic diet, so things that the sort of foods that you're eating, obviously your plant-based foods, so it's a bit more higher fat, obviously. So moderate protein, higher fat. It's not particularly a high protein diet.
No, it's not a high protein diet.
No, it's more higher fat. So so all your nuts and seeds and your proteins and your fats, olive oil, avocados, coconut oil, butter, things like that.
Yeah.
And low starch vegetables.
Yeah.
So your non-starchy veg, things like that. So your leafies.
5% of calories from carbohydrates.
Yeah,
so
which is pretty low.
It's very low.
Pretty low.
But, this is, to me, an extraordinarily difficult diet to follow. If you follow this ketogenic diet, which is like, it's pretty low to moderate protein. It's not a high protein diet.
Not high protein.
But it's really used for specific conditions. I think it's more of a medicinal treatment.
I agree.
So epilepsy?
A lot of research around it for epilepsy, more so in children than adults. It seems to work quite well in children, less so for adults with epilepsy. It can work okay in some adults, but very, very good for children.
Yep.
For epilepsy, so that's quite interesting. Yeah. So
I mean, it's also used for things like migraines. There's lots of studies done on this in migraines because the hydroxymethylbutyrate, the ketones, are very good for the brain. So it helps epilepsy, helps with even helps with dementia, helps with depression.
Yeah.
So this is a really good mental health diet for people. You got to remember that it's not that like people are not, who are not just depressed. Like if they get depressed for a bad job or mortgage stress, that's not disease.
No, that's situational depression. Yeah.
There are people who are just chronically depressed that my wife Rebecca sees, and
that for no known cause, no known reason. Yeah. So can be quite very, very detrimental to the quality of life. So really important, really good for them. But I guess the difficulty with it is getting into ketosis or staying in ketosis, coming out of ketosis. There's a lot of things that they can do that would impact that.
Yep.
So alcohol is one. Go straight out of ketosis, shoot your blood sugars up. But I suspect people who are doing ketogenic diets and they've committed to it probably wouldn't be having alcohol, I wouldn't imagine.
Wouldn't hope so.
Wouldn't hope so.
Yeah.
Too much protein, Steve, can throw you out of ketosis.
Gluconeogenesis from alanine, one of the amino acids, can easily make because your body makes sugars.
Yeah.
That's why there's no such thing as essential sugar.
That's right. Exactly.
Essential fat, essential amino acid, no essential sugar.
That's right.
Your body makes it.
That's right, definitely. Too many carbs, obviously. So maybe a little bit over on your carbs.
Yep.
So eating the wrong types of carbs. So more your starchy carbs if you're going too much of your starchy carbs and things like that. Eating too much or too little. So too much is still going to impact ketones and things like that as well. Amino acid supplementation, Steve.
Yeah.
So your branched chain amino acids.
Yep.
This is a big one.
Yep.
Branched chain amino acids can cause insulin issues, blood sugar issues.
Valine is the offender for that one.
Yeah. And you also have a gut bacteria that can produce short branched chain amino acids as well. So if you have issues with blood sugar dysregulation, insulin issues, you might be producing too many branched chain amino acid producing bacteria in your gut. Just a little aside there for anyone that might be struggling with blood sugar issues. Branched chain amino acids. What else? So
what about being lazy?
Not enough exercise. Yeah, definitely.
Because exercise produces ketones dramatically.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Poor sleep as well. So that could be another one. If you've got an infection, obviously infection is going to impact your stress response. Immune system's going to impact your stress response, which activates your immune system and can impact your blood sugar regulation, that sort of thing. Poor methylation. So it's a methylation issue again. I mean, methylation, MTHFR, polymorphisms and things used to be the big talk of the town a while ago, but it seems to be coming back into focus again, but it shouldn't never ever gone out because there is a lot of issues with methylation. People have issues with that sort of thing. Nutrient deficiencies as well. So if you're having any issues with nutrient deficiencies, that can throw you out of ketosis as well. High lactate levels.
Yep.
So high lactate levels inhibit lipolysis.
Yep, fat burning.
Breakdown. Hormonal imbalances that can low thyroid function or high estrogen. That can definitely impact your impact ketogenesis. Genetic SNPs, Steve.
SNPs, eh?
Yeah. So if you have some genetic SNPs or some polymorphisms, and you are low in nutrients or you're nutrient deficient, that can definitely impact those SNPs. It can switch them on and cause some biochemical pathway issues. So what are some of the possible health benefits of the ketogenic diet?
Look, I love the ketogenic diet because it produces ketones, which means you're losing your ass fat. Is probably the best thing. You got to look. Let's be honest. 2/3 of us Australians are fat. I don't want to be nasty or whatever, but we're in an obesity epidemic, and it's like imagine in a few decades we're talking about the great obesity epidemic of 2020s, and it's like what are you going to say? Oh, that's horrible. There was cheesecake everywhere, and it's like a big epidemic. And it's like we are an unhealthy race, and obesity causes major causes of death. So I like this diet because it will help you. I think it's the best diet to get fat off your body quickly. And I think with fat, going off your body, it self-motivates you to keep going. So I think it's a good starting point for most people to eat. You'd still have green vegetables. You can, you could even, just increase the carbohydrates a little bit more to 5 to 10% and just cut back the fats a bit. Yeah. But I think it's a good diet for that. I think it's great for mental health. It's great for your gut.
Yeah.
It's really good for the microbiome. Yeah. If you're suffering a condition like severe migraines every day and nothing else has worked, if you could even go on a ketogenic diet, that dramatically helps migraines, for example. And 18% of women get migraines. Debilitating. So I used to get cluster headaches. They're worse. They were horrible. But, it's like these things are life disabling, morbid obesity, and things like the headaches and migraines or severe depression. If you're suffering those sort of things, this diet might be for you. It's not that dangerous. It's been out for 100 years, but this diet can be useful. Would you go on it forever? No way.
No.
It's too hard. It's too difficult. But short term, I mean, if you're desperate, I think go for it. Look, we're going to talk about the next diet's going to be our Mediterranean diet, which is one of my favourites.
One of my favourites.
But we can always modify these diets.
Yeah, definitely.
I was going to say they're not written down, but they are.
They're written down.
But they're like, this is what we do as practitioners. Yeah. We say, I want you to do this and this and this and change that and do that, and you tailor it for people. And that's what these diets can do. But it's a good starting point, very low carbohydrate diet, to start with, to get you off on the right foot, I think is a good thing.
Okay, it is a good thing, and I agree with everything you say in that regard.
Yep.
One thing I will premise that I see, cycling women particularly should be a little bit more cautious with these diets. So any low carbohydrate diet can reduce your progesterone levels.
Yeah, we don't want that.
We don't want that because obviously we need progesterone to ovulate, have healthy cycles. I see it quite regularly. Very low carb diets will impact female hormones significantly. So if you're a cycling woman, just be wary. Don't do it longer term. Postmenopausally also can be a factor, believe it or not. So because you don't have as much progesterone anyway, you think, it's okay. But then you lose your sort of calming effect of the progesterone. So we have easier activation of the stress response, which then can spike blood sugars and things. So if you're too low carbohydrate, then it can also cause an issue there. So there's just some small caveats. So if you're going to try the diet, and some women can do it really well longer term, and some women just can't. So do it short term. And then move out of it, and you can go back in and out of it. But make sure that you have good hormonal health before you try this one.
Even just for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. Yeah. So
that's good. It's interesting, eh?
Yeah. If you have PCOS and things like that, these diets can be quite good, a lot better.
Yeah.
Because we're having issues with insulin, so that can be a factor. So, but yeah, so that's the ketogenic diet.
Let's get on to the Mediterranean diet.
Mediterranean diet. So, I didn't score. I didn't score the ketogenic diet. So this is hard. I think I might have underscored the vegan diet because I think actually in hindsight. So I think for this one, I'm going to give this one I'm going to give it a 2, and there's a reason for that because I'm looking at it from a female perspective where it can be a little bit detrimental in some cases. And obviously you've got to think of the people I see. I see unwell people, not so much healthy people. So I see the effects of some of these diets. So that's kind of where I'm scoring it. But I think 2. I think for a male, maybe I'd be looking even a 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, look at that for a male because it's quite good for a male, like quite easy to do.
Being sexist.
I know. Doesn't impact their hormone balance really.
Nothing imbalances a male's hormone.
No men can do just about anything. It's so annoying. So annoying.
We are fragile creatures.
Well, you know what you are because that's why you
don't
have
live
babies.
as long as you.
You couldn't handle having babies. I haven't had babies, but I'm sure there'd be a lot of women that would say, yeah, men couldn't have babies.
Having babies must be easy, I'm sure.
Yeah, we know.
Nicole, the 5th diet, the 5th and final diet. The Mediterranean diet. So we can't eat it. We're Westerners. So what's this Mediterranean diet all about?
Mediterranean diet. So the reason that I thought we'd put the Mediterranean diet in last is because it's pretty much stood the test of time.
It has.
As far as research-backed, really good health benefits, sustainable for the long term.
Yep.
So that's why I put it in because it keeps coming back around. Like it's one of those, some diets, they come and go. It keeps coming back around and it's a really good diet. So,
it does. And I should mention we did the other 4 diets yesterday. Today's today, a different day.
That's
why I'm wearing a different shirt.
I'm wearing a different shirt, but I have about 4 of these, so it looks like I'm wearing the same shirt.
Oh, it does actually?
Yeah, I know. I've got a lot of
Oh, geez, you just showered last night?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Well, the reason we've come back this morning is we started to get a bit sideways yesterday.
Sideways. We
were working late into the afternoon.
Look, there was this white powder there. No, it's not like that.
There was a bit of fatigue happening and things just weren't making a lot of sense. So we thought, let's just cut it.
We've got to save the best till last too.
Well, that's right.
And today's exciting.
Fresh to talk about this one because
I like the diet too, but there's things in it that I would change. But
there's a few things I would change as well, actually, Steve-O.
Well, it's a good one though. It's very well researched.
It is.
Classically known for cardiovascular disease improvement.
Yeah.
Pretty much any diet apart from the Western diet will help your heart.
That's true.
Plant-based, even the carnivore diet, improves lipid profiles because we're starting from such a low base because we're Westerners and the Western diet's terrible.
It is.
So what is the Mediterranean diet? What's its sort of premise?
So Mediterranean diet obviously came originally from the Mediterranean strain. How ironic, right?
Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed? But it's based on primarily fish.
Yep.
A little bit of red meat, small amount of red meat, small amount of chicken, fish a few times a week, lots of vegetables, some fruits, some whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, olive oil, big factor, and a little bit of red wine, which some people might like that fact as well. People in the Mediterranean they're long-lived.
Yep.
Very low incidence of cardiovascular disease, that type of thing. So they really had a look at it for that. So the reason I like this diet, and it is probably my favourite, but I like you, Steve, I would tweak a few little things in it, is that it is a nice balanced diet. So you're getting your vegetables and your fruits in there. So you're getting a lot of your micronutrients, your polyphenols, antioxidants, that type of thing. It's got a good like a lot of fish in it. Well, fish in it, sorry. So omega-3 rich fish, so your salmons and things like that, some white fish, olive oil, which is amazing for so many different things.
It's really good.
Really good antioxidant, polyphenols, really good for inflammation, that type of thing. So it's really high in fibre and very good for the gut, so the gut microbiome. So that's why I really like it. And there is so many health benefits. I mean, I've got a paper here with research on so many health benefits, like you said, cardiovascular disease.
I printed it out for you and I had a quick look at it. I thought, mental health.
Mental health, yeah.
Yeah,
so there's one here, mental health. So, I mean,
run through them. What are the benefits?
Here. I mean,
there's research benefits.
Research benefits. So this one was done on healthy subjects, which is good because a lot of these are done on people who are maybe not so healthy, and then you give them a fairly well-balanced diet. Of course, they're going to improve. So it may not be the diet that's doing it. It may be just any diet that would be better than what they're doing. So this is in healthy subjects. So a total of 4,092 healthy subjects were recruited in 5 studies. So in this one, they reported on the effect of cardiovascular risk factors of an intervention based on the use of a smartphone app wait from the end of it, associated with consultation on physical activity and the Mediterranean diet for 3 months.
Right.
And a follow-up at 12 months.
So that's good because it's on your phone. It's simple. It's 3 months. Let's go. Yeah, good.
Yeah, exactly. So the main result was the reduction of cardiovascular risk factors, which we know is very, very strong for this diet.
LDL, HDL, triglycerides, all that. Yeah.
Exactly. Systolic and diastolic blood pressure reduced.
That's good.
So reduction in blood pressure. Total cholesterol and triglycerides obviously reduced.
Yep.
The use of the mobile device for 3 months compared to standard diet and physical activity didn't have any further benefit in terms of reductions.
Okay.
So that was interesting, kind of. And then the other part of the study was reported on the reduction of vascular biomarkers. So after 2 weeks of the Mediterranean diet, so with cardiovascular, vascular health, all of that sort of thing. So that was in healthy subjects.
So that's good because you're already starting off on a good base. You're not taking a bunch of fatties.
That's right.
And dragging them out of the hospital and saying, get off your macros and eat this. They're already eating okay.
They're already eating healthy. So so those biomarkers were reduced and so much healthier levels. So that was really interesting.
Good.
Cardiovascular disease, we already know. Like there's one here, basically the study showed that high HDL, lower triglycerides, lower ratios of HDL.
They're good.
Cholesterol.
We want high HDL,
Yeah, we won't go into that one because we've just done heaps of those. Effects on metabolic syndrome.
Oh, yeah. So this is things like diabetes. Yeah.
Diabetes, yeah. So in this study by Gomez Hulgas et al.
Oh, yeah. Good old Gomez. Know him well.
600 subjects with metabolic syndrome received an intensive lifestyle intervention based on instructions on the Mediterranean diet and regular physical activity or physical exercise. So that was also included.
Good.
The primary outcome included reduction from baseline of anthropometric parameters like abdominal.
How much fat you've got.
Yep. So abdominal circumference, blood pressure, HDL, cholesterol, fasting plasma, glucose, and triglycerides. At the end of the intervention, the lifestyle intervention group reported significant differences compared to the control group in the abdominal circumference, so reduced.
Yeah, good.
Reduced systolic, diastolic pressure and increased HDL cholesterol.
It's just so good for you, isn't it?
So it's really good. So there's so many. And here's the one on mental health, which I thought was really
I want to hear this.
And there's an interesting factor, which is why another reason I like the diet, aside from the food in the diet. So Pauletta et al. Involved in this one. So him recruited, so tested the effects of the Mediterranean diet supplemented with fish oil. So this also had fish oil included.
Good.
On mental health among 152 people with depressive symptoms.
Okay.
Interestingly, 31% of the males. So it's males do suffer depressive symptoms quite. Oh yeah, quite
and
regularly.
If they do, it's usually more severe. That's why men have a much higher rate of suicide.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So the intervention group received the Mediterranean cooking workshops for 3 months and fish oil supplementation for 6 months. 95 people completed the assessments at 3 months, and 85 completed the 6-month study. At 3 months, the Mediterranean group reported higher Mediterranean diet adherence.
Yep.
Consumed more vegetables, fruit, nuts, legumes, whole grains, and some meat and some chicken. The Mediterranean group also reported greater reduction in depressive symptoms and improved mental health, improved quality of life scores at 3 months. The reason that I like that is because people that suffer from depression really struggle with healthy lifestyle interventions, so cooking healthy foods and sticking to healthy foods and things like that. So the fact that they were able to stick to this Mediterranean style eating was actually beneficial, because it is very difficult when you have depression to stick to these things. So I thought that was actually really good. So Mediterranean diet, so many health benefits, so many. There's so many studies. There's so many that we picked out. We thought, we can't talk about them all.
And you picked a couple of things you might change. The only thing I'd change with that diet is when they say it serves of whole grain.
Yeah.
People think like whole grain pasta and that, and they said, I'm going to eat pasta every night on the Mediterranean diet.
Yeah.
And I've heard that, and it's like, no, you don't. It's bugger. It's a couple of serves a week, I think. But I would sort of, if they're overweight or struggling with their heart, I'd get rid of the flour out of their diet.
Yeah.
but just include more of those plant-based salads and polyphenols and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What sort of stuff would you change it?
So I've prescribed this to a few clients, a low carbohydrate Mediterranean diet.
Yes.
Lower carbohydrate.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big proponent of a lot of grains like you, Steve. Small amount of maybe some whole grains here and there.
Yeah.
And even legumes can be amazing for a lot of people, but for some people they struggle a little bit with them.
Yep.
But they're an amazing source of fiber and protein. But the carbohydrate, the grains like I would probably reduce a little bit. And with this diet, it's fish a few times a week, maybe 3 times a week, and red meat and chicken less. So I would increase the protein as well and make sure they're having protein with at least breakfast, at least lunch and dinner, a good serve of protein.
Good.
That's how I would skew it a little bit. Yeah. But apart from that, I think it's a fantastic diet.
Really good.
For the anti-inflammatory effects, the polyphenols, as we said, the fibre that helps to increase the short-chain fatty acid production in your gut. So gut microbiome diversity is also increased because of the wide range of fruits and vegetables. And it's easy to maintain. You're looking at, say, the carnivore diet, which we talked about first, a little bit harder to maintain for the long term.
I reckon the first couple of days would be great.
Yeah, and then you'd be over the steak. Steak, what's for dinner? Steak again.
Steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs. So,
I do like steak.
I mean, I like steak. I just don't think I can eat it every day. 3 days, any sort of protein 3 times a day.
Yeah.
But I think, and I don't think we mentioned at the start, with all these diets, we're not talking about for body composition.
Yeah.
We're talking about for long-term health. Yeah. So that's where we're coming from. We're talking at body composition. And then, of course, some of the other diets, the more extreme ones, can be quite effective short-term. Sure. But for health reasons, you want to have a diet that you don't have to think about, that's very easy to maintain. You can keep your social life going and not have to worry about, you can't eat this and I can't eat that. Yep. And that's another reason I like the Mediterranean diet. Yep. I think it's very easy to maintain, and it just has so many of those health benefits. And you just adjust it to your needs. So like I said, lower carbohydrate intake if, compare for what your lifestyle is and what your needs are. But I'm going to rate this one.
Oh, yeah. What's the star rating?
Okay. So I'm going to rate this one 4.
4.
The reason I'm not rating it 5.
Way more than the other ones.
I know. I'm not rating it 5 because I would make those little tweaks.
Yeah.
So if we put in like a lower carbohydrate and increase the protein a little bit and reduce those grains a little bit, I'd give it a 5.
Oh, yeah. It's really good diet.
Yeah, it's a really good diet.
Jeez. That's excellent, Nick.
So, and I have to say, I did go home last night and think about the fact that I probably was a bit harsh with my ratings with some of the other ones.
What did you give the plant?
I'm going to amend the plant-based one.
What was it? You gave it a 2?
I gave it a 2.5.
A 2.5.
I felt a bit mean about that. So I'm actually going to give it a 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah. And the reason being, because if you add some protein in there, some animal proteins in there, that'd be perfect.
Yeah. The vegans will love that.
And reduce the carbohydrate content a little bit.
Oh, that's great, Nick. Well, I think everyone's got a lot out of this, and we can look at those diets, and the podcast really goes through some of the more common ones. There's others. We could have done this, could have done that, could have done Ornish, could have done.
There's so many.
Yeah, there's so many.
We just wanted to pick some of the more current ones. And like we said, if it's working for you, great, and your health markers are all fantastic. And I suggest if you are on some of these more extreme diets, just keep a check on your health markers.
Yep.
To make sure everything's okay. And, if you're doing it for a specific reason, say, you've got type 2 diabetes or you've got metabolic issues and you want to do short-term keto or very short-term carnivore,
yep.
And work with someone who's a professional if you're not sure, because it's really important with these diets to do them properly.
Yes.
It's not a matter of just, I'm going to do it this way or that way. And the keto diet is one that I see, too high a protein with the fats, and that's going to cause insulin issues as well.
Absolutely.
So you want to make sure you're doing them right. That's why I like the Mediterranean diet. It's pretty easy. You can sort of mess around with a bit and still have good
compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
So there you go. So
that's good.
So that's
4 and maybe a 5 if you change it.
Maybe 5 if you change it, yeah.
Oh, superstar. Well, look, that's about all we've got time for the diets. We will see everybody next week.
Yeah, see you guys.
See ya. The titties. The little
udders, Steve. They're little udders.
The teats.
They're tiny udders in the tiny milking stool. You could struggle with both.
Fine.
Get ready to press the
there's
mute
no
button.
swear words.
Matt's sweating in the corner.
That sort of mood. It's the afternoon. I don't know. I'm sort of like wanting to annoy people.
We don't usually record late in the afternoon.
It's
so
good. It's
you're
fun.
on a high and I'm just like, I can't see it.
I can't see. You're taking some drugs.
I'm so tired. All right. I knew this was going to be a bit of a train wreck. Okay. Oh, wait. No, just wait 1 sec.
Oh, you're crying again.
Crying again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's it. That's why.